All right, and then we start again. Yes. All right. Oh, damn, my phone is about to... All right, cool. We've done that. And now we can go... I love what he's telling me. He's like, if you need to de-stream and such, it's like, nope, we're going right back in. You back in, Savage?
I'm starting to wonder if I would even be able to. Because, like, I literally went to boot up fucking 14 and it says patching through 2 of 77 updates. And I'm like, what the fuck?
Oof.
All because Steam was fucking stupid.
Radio. I have Furry being like, wait, why did you raid off? It was because Blue did a Blue was going through Kingdom Hearts. I needed to tell him you're not at a skippable Kingdom Hearts because you can skip Chain of Memories or some shit. It was all for a laugh, and then we started it back up again. Now hopefully my chat gives me back. There we go. And now we're back. Hey, Furry Cures, guess what? Hang on a second. Does Furry Cures realize? No, they do not. Twice! Twice in a single night! Lol. Alrighty. Funnies. Alright. Fun time over. Ding. We are going to do Breath of the Creator. Are you back online? Oh, no. You said no, didn't you?
Yeah, I probably won't be able to.
Oh, okay. I will be with complete randoms then. Hang on a sec. Kick you. Stink. Let's see how we go. Time for me to explore the rest of the thingamajiggy. I'm sorry that Steam is becoming a bit of a pain for you. You got pranked. Yes. Like I said, we were going to raid into a stream, and then I'd come back to it in like 2 minutes or less. It was a hit and run. And besides, if it, you know, if the low energy still hits me for like another 15 minutes or 30 minutes, then it's probably going to be an actual end stream, and then I'll actually, you know, legitimately raid into Blue again, and Blue's going to be absolutely confused as to how the fuck did I raid him twice. Alrighty, where else have I not explored? Oop, you know. It's just a prank, bro. I wonder if it's actually bad practice or not, because I know Scribbly Noodle did it to Wolk, and, you know, basically he raided into Wolk, and then he started up his stream again. I'm curious whether or not that is okay behavior in what's-a-mahoozy, in, Twitch, where it's like you raid into someone, and then you just stop your stream and start it back up again. I wonder if people have problems with that. Do you think they'd have problems with that, Savage? Savage?
Oh shit, went from 7 to 15 out of 77. Pretty damn quick.
Oh yeah, if your hard drive isn't very fast, it will take time for it to pick up on what parts of the thingy-majiggy are already done. There we go. Is there something there? Alright, well, I know something's here, so... There go. Ooh, Vista. There we go. And we go off on our little adventure again. Actually, you know what I can do? I could probably, like, actually swap over to a demo of Final Fantasy 16 as, like, a, you know, did this for, like, an hour and a half, and then swap over to an entirely different Final Fantasy just for the refresh. Let's see, does this give me a new... Yes, it does, for whatever reason. Hey, god damn it, Furry Cures, why'd you have to take my shirt? Alright, I mapped the entirety of the fringes. And this one has... Hey! Just when I was thinking of leaving. Alright, here we go. Steal my first, I steal your shirt. Fair enough. Valid criticism. What's happening with the last DPS? You better not be skipping on me. Nope, cool. It literally says, steal my shirt, that boy. Oh, this is a fucking banger of a song. Okay, so Jack Wibble has already turned on their thingy-majiggy, so we're following Jack. Okay, so we go along this one. Oh, I stole Furry Cures first. Well, to be fair, he was sitting here for like a good minute, and then he just let it slide. So it's all his fault. Go. I have no clue what I'm doing.
Hello.
Hi, Jason. Go. Hi, Thorin. Yes, there is zebra titties on stream. I don't know if you've been here since I like first did the change, but I've added the nipples back on because I've been seeing like a lot of VTubing models, like male ones, bringing nipples back, and it's like, oh, male presenting nipples are okay, it seems. So I've been experimenting with that to see if it's effective. Oh, he's nearly dead this time, which is great. Is that the end? Yeah, he's dead. I get slapped by someone before they just fuck off and leave. I am the only one here. Do I want to open these coffers? Well, I already opened them, so... Hopefully tarnished Alexander Crank and Springs and all that shit is actually useful for something. Excellent work, old friend! That platform is our shortcut to the heart of the machine. All seems quiet on our front, so... 7 hells! We've got company! Just some random, like, goblin just banging on the fucking doors. Ah, there you are, Grant. We were met by a small welcoming party, but it was nothing we couldn't handle. Biggs and Wedge just contacted me as well. They're headed here as we speak. Round blocks. So this is the Enigma Codex. And it's going to, like, this aether crystal at the bottom. And that must be the third and final core. 12, have mercy. If you could but see the volume of aether issuing from it. Psh, much swirly bright. Time wings can spread. Travel to overtimes. Makes bad things good again. Could it be Do we truly have the power to change the past? I could erase my mistakes. I could see him again. Nope, do not think of doing that. Do not think of doing that unless you want to, like, hit the ramifications of time travel and all that nonsense. I could probably explain to you, like, 3 different problems in the 3 different ways. 3 years ago, Mid lost her dear one. Mid wants dear one back, yes? Round blocks helps Middy. Round blocks, no, you must save your strength. Middy worries too much. Round blocks is strong, Gobby. Uplanders, hold on to brain case. Time wings spread. Seven hells, had the girl gone mad? Stop this, Roundox. Stop, I say. Crazy magic. Biggs? Where are we? And why is everything spinning? Biggs, Wedge, can you hear me? Roundrox has engaged Alexander's time distortion mechanism. We're hurtling into the past. Uh-oh. We're what? Ooh, we're going back in time to stop this thingy-madiggy from happening. That's the Alexander thingy-madooks. Problems. Biggs, over here! You're not going to believe this. What's Middy doing down there with those... Hold on! They're performing the summoning ritual! Bugger me! We really are in the past! Boom, boom, boom. What in the 7 hells? Someone's taking control of the Colossus. Hold tight. I think it's gonna go berserk. Not good. Not good whatsoever. Damn it all. This isn't right. We must abort the summoning. Quickly, Mid. The seal. Processing. And that's him just getting sucked away. Stay in! No! That's him writing his thing. Ooh! Psh, what is Metal Making Kitten doing? Nice. Fucking cat just coming in, ruining the day. Oop. And she gets, like, a little cut in there. Ooh, cool rock. Furry Curious, you're not mad at me, are you? I hope you're not mad with me. I'm going to take the random guess that this is one of those singular timeline thing events where Alexander's time machine can't affect events in the past that we have observed. Because in order to, because otherwise then we wouldn't have gone back into the past with the Alexander machine anyway, so, you know, it would always come to the conclusion of, oh, he still got sucked away and shit. 'Twould seem we are back in our own time. Psh, past is made right, and we return to now times. Treasure hunter friends die as it must be. Uplander serve quick thinks well today. It's because Quick Thinks has a book. Psh. Uplanders are not grasping meaning. Quick Thinks breaks into bitty pieces, fit in Uplanders' tiny brain cases. Time is flat round shape. All things Uplanders and Gobbies did are doing and will do. Doing happening over and over. Wait, did you do a fake? Yes, I did. So, is that what they're called? A fake raid? Because I thought they were called hidden runs, where it's like you do a raid, you raid into someone, you end your stream, you start it up again. I thought that was called a hidden run. Is that like a, because like, that's making me think that's a bad thing, where it's a, when you call it, like, is it a bad thing? Savage hasn't been able to answer me, like, in the Discord, and I'm not too sure if Savage is awake right now or if they're too busy dealing with something else.
Well, I'm here. I'm just been watching videos while I wait for this shit to fucking finish.
Okay. So when Mitty and her friends attempted to summon Alexander 3 years ago, what they actually saw was us traveling back in time, but that's madness. Time is an endless circle. My failure, my pain, my suffering, it was all doomed to unfold like this from the very beginning? Not unless the events that are now happening in the future were in order to, you know, let us away quickly. Like, you could still have the events in the past happen, but you just need to, like, sort of trick
Faboy underscore 97 paid me to say my day be so finey, then boom. Horny.
My day do be so fine. Now I worry that I wasn't supposed to, like, now I worry that it's not actually a good idea to do, like, the hidden run raids, or fake raids as they're called. Now I have that concern in my brain. Mitty must hide. No, nothing remains for me out there. My future, my past, my reason for being, it all ended before it ever began. Midi! Midi!
My day be so fine.
Then boom.
Morning.
Oh, I can now get this vista. Awesome. And complete this quest. Midi. Chief Yashtola and Roundtrox. Gods, I've never been so bloody glad to see you. I thought we'd never make it in one. Wait, where's Midi? Midi stays behind in giant of whirly cogs, all because of Roundtrox. Roundtrox must go back to the giant of whirly cogs. Save Midi! You leave that to us, kid. Wedge, get Jessie on that link pearl and tell her to bring the Excelsior around. Excelsior. Though I didn't much care for the answer, we finally know the truth behind the events of the day 3 years past. The Illuminati masterminded the massacre, and through some ungodly trick of time, 'twas us that brought them there to do the deed. And what about Midi? The only thing keeping her going was the hope that her beau's soul lived on in the machine, but seeing what happened to the poor bastard... Aye, we witnessed the truth with our own eyes, sucked in the core of the Colossus to sate the primal's appetite. If aught remains of him, it is no more than heat and light. Dun, dun, dun. And then Biggs has a new mission. Quick Think says the future's already been writ, eh? That we're fighting a losing battle? Well, we got a thing or two to say about that, don't we, Grant? Roundtrox is safe with us, which means the Illuminati won't be turning back time on us anymore, and that's not all. Thanks to your efforts, we've got ourselves a straight path to the third and final core. Aye, the very heart of the Colossus. Put it out of action and the whole thing will grind to a halt. Let's go, Grant. We'll show the Illuminati that the future's yet to be decided, and save Mid while we're at it. Excellent. Dun, 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 dun. Heart of the Creator is now available. Alrighty. You now have access to Heart of the Creator. Alexander can be accessed via the entrance of the Maker thingy-majiggy. There we go. Heart of the Creator. Mount. Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. Oh yeah, so this is, yeah, that's Breath of the Creator. Dun dun dun. That's not what I want. Christina at the House of Splendors in Mordona, who may have what we require. Okay, so we need to head to Mordona. Make our way to Revenant's Toll. Dun, 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 dun. What the? Oh, never mind. And then, Alright, so there's you. Alright, so I need unidentified... Oh, that's why, because I didn't have all this shit. So... Oh, no, I have the enchanted rubber. Okay, so I have the first thing, which is the enchanted rubber. Now I need the unidentifiable shells with some titanium alloy mirror. Wait, did I get those things in the past? King cake dispelling... No, I didn't. Okay. So, yeah. So I need shell, ore, and seed, which can be found at the thingamadoog. The... what's-a-who's it? The, brain. Think. It's none of these peeps. It's Servant of Splendors, is it? Uncanny Knickknacks? Nope. Poetics for Other. Nope. Special Arms? Yep, here we go. Alright, so to get 10 of them, I would need 1,500. Okay, so I'm gonna need quite a few of those. So yeah, I would need to go through like 15 of those. The main scenario would give me 350. Alliance raids gives me 120. Normal raids gives me 80. And then that would give me whatever's. How much is this giving me? Nope, wrong thing. I need raids. There we go. Heart of the Creator is giving me 20. This gives me 15. Void Art gives me... Okay, so Void Art gives me 100. Ah, because it's like 3... It's an Alliance raid is why. What do Trials give me? Not that much. 22, 20, 20, 20... So, and I would need to complete those, like, synced, I believe, to get those rewards. This one would give me... Okay, so those would give you more. Temple of the Fist gives you 20. That would give you 100. Alright, still no party. Shame. Yeah, getting these tombstones of poetics is going to be a bit of a whiles. Meanwhile, special arms. Unsellable, market prohibited. So that's the new contender is who we want. Not the most riveting stuff, I'm gonna be real with you, chat, right now, and I understand that pain. Oh, new contender's down there, that's why. There he is. Swagger... Wait, what is his name? Swaggering Seeker of the Sun. Oh my goodness. You're the Avenger that's been sauntering about the village. What do you want? Miraz asked you to train me. I don't need his pity, and I certainly don't need you. And I'll prove it. After I beat you bloody, I'll defeat Miraz and take my rightful place as Nonna. No idea how to pronounce that. Alright, let's see if we can go through this fight. And I kick his ass. Damn it all! Why am I so weak? Fine. Alright. If you mean to train me, then get on with it. That's what you came here for, isn't it? Yeah, technically. Good. After a few lessons from you, Miraz'll wish he'll never have sent you to me. Man, he has a weird name. I refuse to end up like my father. I will become stronger, even if it means accepting help from my enemy. Where were we? Ah, I should probably introduce myself. You can call me Mizette. Like Niv Mizette. Now, how about you show me what you can do? Hold on a minute. I didn't mean I want to fight again. I want to observe, preferably from a safe distance. A gazelle would make for a good fight, and they graze nearby. Let's be off. Yeah! Woo! Alrighty. New contender is to the north. Just some fun little minor combat. Help out Cookie over here. Go. Alright, so that's to get to a weird thingamadiggy. That's to get to the what's-my-whoosies. Cool. Cookie's got another 30 minutes at least. God damn, how far away are these gazelles? Dun 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 dun. There's the hostile presence. Nice big gazelle. Easy fight. Would it be funny if I raided into Blue Foxy Nicey Icy like closer to 9 o'clock with the joke, it's even funnier the second time? I wonder if that would be worthwhile. Yay! Alright, what's your next thing? Alright! I think I'm ready. The title of Nama is as good as mine. Yeah, I don't think you're gonna do too well, kid, but you do you. I swear, if I don't get into the next duty in like 5 minutes, I think I will have us go over into Final Fantasy XVI's demo to try it out. See how that goes. And he got his ass kicked, didn't he? Not again. He got his ass kicked. Why am I so weak? Do not tire of this fool's errand. Tell me, why is it you seek the title of the Nuna? My father was Nun of the M tribe until his title was stolen when we were driven out of the village. Then, just when I thought things were at his worst, he abandoned me. This is your fault. If you hadn't taken away his title, he'll still be here. I'll rip you limb from limb for it if I have to. You wait and see. His father was Nun as well. There was a time when the M tribe was led by 2 nuns. In the common tongue, it is often interpreted as chief of the tribe, but first and foremost, we are a father to our people. When our hunting grounds are vast and our children many, it is sometimes necessary to have a second nun as we once did. After the Garleans invaded, however, our lands diminished, as did our numbers. We agreed only a single Na was needed. Under normal circumstances, we would do battle, the loser abdicating their title. But his father relinquished it willingly, and left with him from the peering stones. We never heard from him again. Mizet, son of Maha, after all these years, he returns. But why would his father leave him to survive on his own? Perhaps there is someone among our people or the Anata who know what became of him. Take Mizet with you and see what you can discern of his father's whereabouts. You're like to find him near the southern edge of Virjaya. Alright, mount up. Dun, 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 dun. Alright, so we hand in back to there, and we see how we go. Dun, 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 dun. I wish you had seen that. What a bloody mess I was. None of this would be happening if my father was still here. It wasn't easy growing up on my own. Once I became Nun, though, I'll finally get the respect and admiration I deserve. I beg of you, help me defeat Miraz. Dun, 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 dun. Next mission. Are you ready to whip me into shape? I've been thinking about how I might need to improve, and I'm fairly certain fending off attacks is my weak point. After all, both you and Miraz bested me with a single blow. I think I have just the thing to practice defending myself. Follow me. Dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun. Let me just mount up onto you again. Make a man out of you. That's a... Tranquil as a forest, but on fire within. Ah, there he is. Dun, dun. Look what I have found. Mark 50 grenades? Mark 52 grenades left behind by Garleans, as you can believe. Word has it you've dealt with them before, so I'm pretty sure you know what these can do. They'll be perfect for practicing my guard. Now, take these grenades, throw them at me. No need to worry. I've already emptied out most of the explosive powder. Okay. Throw at Thingamadoog. Should have emptied them out a little more. I mean, that was nothing. Go ahead, toss another. Alright, tossing another. Ugh, I know that one had more powder than the last one. Not that that's a bad thing, mind you. Hit me with another. I can take it. This man's gonna die, isn't he? Ah! I must have forgotten to empty out the powder. Alright, hand it in. Hello? But that just means the training will make me tougher. Why, I bet I could defeat Miraz right now if I wanted. Or perhaps after a short break. Okay, I have not seen any movement in the duty thingy-majiggy, unfortunately. I can get a new bracelet, which is nice. Alright, let's get the mission started with this one. But I reckon I am going to move over to... I think I'm going to move over from Final Fantasy XIV to Final Fantasy 15's, Final Fantasy 16's demo. So, dink. XVI. Yep, XVI. Alrighty, gonna quickly swap over to here, so then that way I have an opportunity to, you know, change scenes without too much of a worry. Nice little jam. Alrighty, alright, so yeah, I'm just, like, exiting out of that. So, Savage, thank you for helping me out with the previous few dungeons. I really appreciate it. Let's see, will this let me exit? Yes, it will. Awesome. I guess he's quietly listening, watching videos. Alright. And then I go to studio mode, change the game sources, turn that off, activate this, turn it on, and let's, hang on a sec, done, turn off studio mode. So now we've updated the game.
Fatboy_97 paid me to say meow 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 meow.
Meow 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 meow. I really wish I could do the auditory tags into the speaker bot, but they've not yet released an update for that. Brightness does nothing. All right, we're gonna go with graphics. Can you hear that, chat? All right, visual alerts. Nope. Story focused. Action. Begin the game with standard equipment recommended for who are comfortable with action games. Begin the game equipped with several accessories that simplify gameplay. Recommended for those who are less comfortable with action games and wish to focus on the game story elements. Gameplay focus does not affect story contents. Modes can be changed after starting the game. Let's go action focused. Oh, that's weird. Why would they have that? Like, why would they give me a cursor?
Moss the Chronicler, who said that the land of Valisthea is blessed in the light of the Mother Crystals. It is this light which finally led our forebears out of the darkness. Yet, what they saw in the light gave rise to temptation.
Oh, so what's up with my mic having all this, like, background noise on it?
Ever lures us back into the crystal shadow. And thus did our journey begin.
Is there anything on my mic sound? Weird. Like, it's something in the minus 55 decibel, like, range. Oh, damn. Ifrit got knocked the fuck out. Oh, that's me. Wait, is this the combat? Just triangle? This is a very deep hole. Like, what the fuck is going on? This is insane. Oh, Jesus. This does capture my attention. I will be real with you. Year of the Realm, 873. Okay, 873 it is then. Yoshitaka Amano.
It'll be light soon. Both camps have begun to stir.
Mm-hmm.
You all know the target. Shiva's dominant. And only the dominant.
No one else? Where's the fun in that? How do we even know the girl will be among them?
Our kind do not question orders. We follow them.
That is a terrible
Keep that in
idea.
mind.
You shouldn't just be
get this done.
blindly following, but you know, asking questions is not a problem. Nice. Hiroshi Minagawa.
Focus, Wyvern. You are key to this mission's success.
Yes, Sergeant.
Yep. All right. Now we've started into the gameplay section rather than cinematics.
I said focus, Wyvern.
Yeah. Okay. I can. Cool. I love how it's Okay, so his name is Clive Wyvern. Press start at the anytime outside a cutscene to open the main menu. Configuration. Yep. Cool.
We don't have time for this. All hell is about to break loose.
Cool stuff.
Time to move.
Alright, so it looks like they're slowly opening up the controls for me. There isn't a way for me to, like,
We're just
you know,
inside.
click to sprint. Alrighty. The Republican Army's front lines versus... I'm gonna take a wild guess. Those are barbarians of some sort. Very effective boulders.
These iron blood are more beast than man.
The way this is going, they won't need this new dominant of theirs. What?
I guess they're expecting us to have a dominant on our side or something. Or they're expecting us to, like, I don't know, Absorb a spirit.
To the gates!
Zornita Stronghold.
What do you mean you refuse? Did you not pledge your swords to our cause?
Come now. Marshal, the King of Waloed is our guest.
Why does he look familiar? Like,
And you have His Majesty's answer.
neither of them look like Clive, so yeah, that's not the case. Interesting that they will use like Aether to just create their water. Meanwhile,
I wonder that you summoned us at all. Have you so little faith in your own men? It was the Dalmex who drove back the Crusaders in the Battle of the Twin Realms, was it not? Or am I mistaken? Besides, your dominant has yet to take the field. And when he does, our knights would only get in the way.
Perhaps you have not heard, but the Ironblood now have their own dominant. We would be fools to underestimate them.
Bugger their knights.
What did you say?
Should this citadel be allowed to fall, the capital will lie exposed.
my first guess is that
And
this
I
guy's a
doubt the
Titan.
Crusaders will wait for the good king's pawns to line up before taking to the board. Which just leaves me.
Trupka!
The Ironblood will rue the day they set foot on Storm. This game is over.
She's sexy.
You cock.
Benedicta.
Oh, they're a thing? I did not get that indication in the what's-mahuzi in the room.
Take care when he chases the hare. Or do you think me one of the latter?
No, my love. You are a lion. You're my lion.
I'm not afraid of a little frost, Benedicta. But I will need someone to warm me when I come home.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about her with this, like, very disinterested look.
The front lines are gone. This is our chance. The chaos will conceal us.
Okay, so I'm gonna take the random guess that these guys are not part of the Ironbloods or of the Republican faction. They must be, like, some other third party, perhaps. Or they're clandestine with the Republic. So, alright, let's see where does this take us now. There we go. Use traversal. I still have that boy's message, like, stuck in my head. Meow 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 meow.
And quick and deadly.
as always. Take the van.
Like, the transport? Or are they meaning like the Vanguard?
Wait. Something's not right.
Oh.
Titan. So the Darmax finally grew tired of being slaughtered.
And then that's most likely Shiva.
And look who's here to greet the bastard.
So yeah, I reckon, so the Ifrit, Titan, and Shiva I've already seen in Final Fantasy XIV. And I'm assuming this one's Shiva because, you know, ice and all that shit. Yeah, Shiva doesn't look that different from, like, all the other times I've seen her. And then there's the Chocobos. Yes, 16. We played Final Fantasy XIV online for a little bit. Did the status update? Hang on a second. Is there a demo option for 16? Because this is technically just the demo. That's why I had confusion. Ah, righto. But yeah. Did a little bit of MMO night. Was kind of enjoyable. Not 100% because, you know, raids and dungeons were not, you know, easy to get into and such. It was like waiting 15 plus minutes. Oh, and we're able to dash. So I learned the demo was out, and I'm playing the demo until, you know, I grow tired. No, come on, let me jump. No, damn you.
Right on top of us.
Yeah, that guy has the right idea.
Anytime, Wyvern.
So yeah, welcome to the stream, Tinos. Hopefully I'm saying that correctly. Is it Tinos or Tenos?
You're just gonna stand there?
And you're not, no, but no one says it right. Ah, okay. Now, hopefully if you stick around another day, I'll soon try and, like, you know, learn your name a little bit. I'm not really great with name pronunciations. Sometimes I get it right, other times I don't. But yeah. You used to love the Final Fantasy games. You might give 16 more of a go than you did 15. 15 was actually the first Final Fantasy game I've played. I've not played any of the others except for 14 online. So I played Final Fantasy 15 and it did have like, it just had like all these gaps in my opinion. And it was like, I didn't want to have to, you know, pick up the movie, the comics and all the DLCs to like get it. So, I guess we're going back in time right now. Yep, looks like we're back in time. You've been playing since 8, but the fragmentation of 15 put you off? Yeah. I think the reason why there was a fragmentation of 15 was just because it was under development hell, and they were trying to make it, you know, part of the Final Fantasy XII universe. Fucked around too much because of the engine issues. And from there, they had to make it into their own thing, but they still wanted to try and do the Final Fantasy XII thing of having, like, a branching universe from the entry.
Go on. You're sure to hit him eventually.
There's a dog! I want to pet the dog. We better be able to pet the dog.
2 arms, then. It wouldn't do to disappoint the gallery.
Alrighty then. Time to show off my fencing prowess.
Let's start again from the beginning. Come, show me your form.
Execute a 4-swing combo. Press square, up to 4 attacks can be chained together.
Good. Again. More. Don't give your enemy time to riposte.
Wait, how far can I be? Okay, I can be pretty far. 15 shifted riders is slow, so they had to boot one guy because it wasn't. I feel like Final Fantasy 15 had a lot of different people changing things.
The flames of the phoenix burn within you. Now let them burn without. Come, Clive. Rain fire down upon me.
All right, I'm going to take the random guess that dominants are people that can invoke the forms of the primals from Final Fantasy XIV, and this guy has, you know, phoenix powers.
Don't hold back. I can take the heat.
There we go. Lesson completed.
Well done. You wield the Firebird's flames just as a first shield should.
You flatter me, my lord.
Or would you rather I flattened you? Can be arranged. Let's see.
Could go for a fight.
My blade. After all, your attacking prowess will count for naught if you don't live long enough to use it. On your toes, Lord Rossfield.
Alrighty. Alright. Evading an attack at a precise moment. Alright, let's try this Dark Souls shit.
Good. Move only when you must. Nice try.
Alright, let's see. Okay, so I kind of need to do it when he's beginning to do his swing. I have like a good amount of leeway.
Remember, Clive, your blade is not your only weapon. Quickness of thought and fleetness of foot are indispensable arms in any shield's arsenal. But you are not just any shield, are you? Show me what sets you apart from the rest. You have been blessed by the Phoenix, granted the use of its power. Call upon that power now to close on me.
Alright.
Well, I'm waiting.
Oh, this is the same as Noctis's thing.
Good. Fly at your foe before he can raise his...
This is very similar to Noctis's thing, where he just dashes to get to where he needs to be.
But even the most agile shield cannot hope to escape every blow. And death may come by a handful of cuts as easily as it comes by 1,000. There is only one way to ensure that you do not fall. Keep your wounds mended and your energies replenished.
Right, okay.
Speaking of which, my lord, you seem a little worse for wear. Now that won't do at all.
I can handle it. Tinos, thank you for the follow. Is it Tinos? So T-N-O-S. Tinos. Okay, so hang on. What are they? Consumables such as potions and tonics can be used to revive his or temporarily boost attributes. Consumables are assigned to the thingamajiggies from the from the main menu. Neat. Nice.
That's better. Battle is a succession of
Hi, Rudy.
wherein life and death can
I'm afraid I'm not allowed to help on the ground of I get a giggle from
You
it.
must be ready to utilize every tool at your disposal if you are to navigate a path to victory. Or at the very
You know what I
least,
can do? I can just use my TTS
ensure
bot.
that you live to fight another day. Enough practice.
Tino's.
It's time for the test.
Tino's.
You've recovered from your soaking, I trust. You wouldn't want to kick a man while he's drowned.
I thought you'd never ask.
You're off to work now. Not to worry, Rudy. Thank you for coming along, though.
If you believe yourself worthy to be called Shield of the Flame, then prove it.
You're easily entertained. Cool. Awesome. I will be attempting to say your name correctly. You will have your giggle, and I shall move on with my video game.
Proof of your strength.
Awesome. Time to get into an actual fight. Final lesson. Defeat him? Yes. The will gauge indicates a will to fight. Break that spirit by landing attacks and strike them when they're vulnerable.
You're sure to beat him this time. You can do it, Clive.
Oh, I forgot the wrong button.
Not quite. You're taking this seriously.
Keep going, Clive.
There we go. Staggered. Lord Mordok's will has been broken, leaving him staggered, dealing as much damage as you can before you regain senses. R2 and square to execute Rising Flames, a powerful Eoknic ability. Eoknic granted by Clive for the blessing of the Phoenix. Alright, R2 and square.
It's time I took my own advice and used all the tools at my disposal.
Ow. Easy to do. I will be able to take him on. And then R2 and... Aw, damn it. I was really hoping to stagger him, like, and do the Enoch thing as the final. That would have been good. Did it. And only with, like, a few hits in me.
He won! See? I told you he could do it.
Hell yeah, I won. Hell yeah, I won.
Bested at last. It's taken me long enough. That was a display worthy of your father. You are a true shield of the flame, and let no one tell you otherwise. Including me.
Nice.
What are you lot gawping at? Back to your drills.
Alrighty then, fine. Back to our drills. Nice. It looks like they got... It does look more medieval compared to their entries from...
Mustn't waste them.
So yeah, because they've definitely been advancing the decades ever since, I want to say, Final Fantasy VII was when they did, like, the Metropolitan stuff. And I believe that kept on going even into 15, because even though there was, like, a royalty and all this magic in 15, they still had... like, you know, monarchies and such, but with, you know, cities and, you know, metropolises and cars and shit, so...
Please, this is no place for one.
This is an interesting sort of take, where they've gone very medieval, as you said.
Gentlemen,
Rosaria thanks you for your indefatigable loyalty.
Thank you.
That doesn't sound like a real world. Indefatigable does not sound like a word.
Joshua. You should not be out of doors. We have discussed this.
I'm sorry.
Don't be angry.
Day to you, Mother.
Oh. Alright, so the three of them must be siblings?
Come, Joshua. Your father will be expecting us.
He's not...
Your Grace.
Because he's black-haired. He would, like... Could it be a case that he's actually a stepson instead of an actual son due to the hair color?
Way to treat your own flesh and blood.
I know. It's not his fault. Not everyone can be born the Phoenix.
We should join them.
Or I guess, you know, as they say. Indefatigable is a real word, means unyielding. Just say unyielding or infallible. Like, why the extra fancy word? Why the bullshit extra fancy word makes no sense? Hey, claws. Is that a chocobo? Nice. That's a very threatening chocobo.
Rise, my friends.
Welcome home, Father.
Thank you, Joshua. You are well, I trust.
Yes, Father. Much better. Today, Jill and I went to the bailey to watch Clive's spa.
Is that so?
Puppy!
Stop it, boy. Not now.
You'll make a fine hound one day.
Wait, is that?
Father.
Lift up your head, girl.
Thank you, Your Grace.
Is that Matt Mercer?
The capital rejoices at your safe return, Your Grace.
Hang on.
War is coming, my boy. We must make ready.
Is the situation truly so grave?
Come to the throne room. We will talk there.
Yes, Father. Your Grace.
Shields dismissed.
Does he have a name?
Torgal.
Where do you think you're going? Clive here is off to see the Archduke.
Right.
Find your way. Find yourself lost? Do not fret. Hold down L3 and trust in your animal instincts to point you in the right direction. A current destination will be displayed with a red thingamadoog.
Is trouble brewing?
I'm not sure. I need to speak with Father.
All right. Let's get this.
Finding items. Oh, awesome.
The Duchess calls for
Well, we're definitely going to be finding more items. Do I have a jump button?
Need to shift this lot before we lose the light.
Damn it. Make throw the throne room. He doesn't really do that good of a jump, does he? But yeah, I need to find his Oh, he's marked.
Good as new.
Forgive me, Lord Marquess, pray do not concern yourself with this bungling cur. Bow to him, you fool. Did I say to speak?
Mm-hmm.
It was no trouble. Really.
Oh, do not indulge him. To be allowed to stand in your lordship's presence is more than his kind deserves. Why, neither the Empire nor the Republic treat their bearers half so well. He was lucky to be born in your father's dominion. Very lucky, as I remind him every day.
Stand, please.
Stand.
I trust his good fortune will continue.
Of course, if that is your lordship's wish.
Don't work too hard. Remember, it is for the good of the duchy that you serve.
As do we all, my lord.
As do we all.
Come along now. Back to your duties.
Looks like they're getting ready for supper.
I think someone's hungry.
Oh. So wait, is the slave master for those who have like the... Yep, so it looks... Alright, so those that are marked on the cheek have like lower status in this dominion than the others. So how did Clive, the son of a of like the, you know, important
Fine
fella.
display, my lord. Almost felt sorry for the Lord Commander.
So that's going to be an interesting question, is how the fuck did he get a like a mark on his head? Is he going to...
Wheat harvest.
I can imagine maybe being responsible for the disappearance of Joshua, or maybe Joshua gets assassinated, like maybe that's why he might get marked and what have you.
Isn't it? There's Joshua.
Nope, there he is. Hello.
Clive,
Are you worried about the war?
the soldiers will expect the Phoenix to help them, but I don't know if I can.
Don't worry, Joshua. Father will guide you. And I will protect you. Always.
I know. Thank you, Clive.
You will put Joshua's comfort and safety before your own. Do you understand? Yes, Your Grace.
Can I talk to you? Or are you just like that committed to not wanting to speak with me? Okay.
Marquis, forgive my man. You'll be done in a jiffy. Just getting the place tidied up for the big procession.
Okay, so those guys are slaves as well, most likely. Why does every fantasy just have to have, like, slavery as, like, magic? Because, like, I'm gonna be real. If, like, magic was a thing, I feel like magicians would always be the furthest from slaves and what have you. Not unless you had, like, you know, the royalty being an even greater power of slaves, a greater power of the force with the magic, in which case, but none of the people that are currently, you know, here seem to demonstrate like a grand degree of power or anything like that. Like, oh, there we go. Why is it so dark in here? Jesus Christ. You not coming?
Good luck.
Oh, look at his little paw. He's just... Ah! He's just so fucking cute. I've only seen this dog for like 5 minutes, but if anything fucking happens to him, we're gonna have problems with this game.
You commanded my presence, Your Grace. How may I serve you?
All right, you can stop licking my boots. Mother isn't here.
All right, what are you going to tell me?
Territories fare any better?
Most lie under a pall of black. In just these few moons, the Blight has taken nigh on all of the northern reaches. It is only a matter of time before it crosses the border.
Okay.
By the flames.
Nearly every available bed in the capital is already occupied by those fleeing the Deadlands. Even if we were to send them south to Port Isolde, more would only follow in their wake. Every day we delay brings us closer to disaster. We must move now.
Against the Iron Kingdom.
We have traded blows with them for too long. It is time to end it.
At the very least, we must secure Drake's breath.
Well, at least the name is more recognizable than the others.
Defend our realm from the spread of the Blight.
The Iron Blood will not relinquish it easily. This will be a bitter fight.
We ride for Phoenix Gate tomorrow. There we will listen to the words of our ancestors, as tradition dictates.
Am I to go with you as Joshua's shield?
There is something else I would have you do first. Rodney.
Okay.
You will have heard the reports, I am sure, of beastmen from the north being sighted within our borders.
Goblins in the Stillwind marshes. I know of the rumors, yes.
Then you know what must be done. I will give you 2 good men. While we ride north tomorrow, you will journey to Stillwind, search it and clear it. Then you will join us at Phoenix Gate.
It is time to prove your strength. And shut your mother up for good.
Okay. Clearly, the husband and the mother, or like the father and the mother, may not be 100% in love. There's definitely like a political reason for their joining. Because I could not imagine like a dad talking to their son of like in such a fashion about their mom. Not unless there was like a, you know, just this sort of detached feeling to it slowly happening. Like, he probably had, like, feelings of love for her at the start and such like that, but then it's just a case of, oh, ambition started happening. Active Time Lore. Compilation of important information relevant to Clive's current storyline progression. ATL can be viewed during cutscenes. All ATL entries can be accessed later in the game. Okay, I have to hold it down. Alrighty, so Elwyn Rosfield, Archduke of the Grand Duchy of Rosaria and father of Clive and Joshua, loved by his people for his steadfast leadership both at home and on the battlefield, which he put to good effort in quelling the rebellion. The Grand Duchy of Rosary is a nation occupying the western reaches of the continent of Storm, with Rosalith as its capital, Rosaria Rosaria was originally formed from a collection of smaller dominions, all of which now stand united under the banner of Archduke Elwin Rosefield. Not possessing a mother crystal of its own, the duchy has long been locked in bitter conflict with the Iron Kingdom over possession of Drake's Breath, which lies still further to the west in the midst of the boiling sea. Also known in the local tongue as Hyaron, the Iron Kingdom is an archipelago nation situated off the west coast of Storm, with its capital at Craig Loisgate. The Mother Crystal, Drake's Breath, rises from a volcanic island situated just within, or without, its borders, depending on whom you ask, and has been the subject of long-standing conflict between the Ironblood and neighboring Duchy of Rosaria. The Iron Kingdom's inhabitants shun any contact with outsiders, which has given rise to a unique, if largely inward-looking culture. Mother Crystals. Enormous glassy mountains, 5 of which tower over the lands of Valisthea. They are the sources of all the crystals that the people of the Twins rely on in their everyday lives. Not only that, but the lands surrounding them are richer with aether, making the magic the crystals cast even more potent. For those reasons, great nations have sprung up around each Mother Crystal and have long warred with each other for possession of these blessings. And then this is like the rosary thingamadoogie. Nice. All right, retreat to your chambers. Jesus Christ, that's dark. And now we're back to bright. Dun, dun.
No messages, my lord.
Why is it so dark? Jesus Christ. You know, I increased the brightness as well to maximum.
How long will you be away this time?
Not long. 4 days. Maybe 5.
And you will be taking Joshua?
But I can't exactly leave him behind, can I? The blood of the Rosfields runs in his veins.
She doesn't like that
Before
idea.
the war, we perform the rite at Phoenix Gate. It's our way. You know that. And only the dominant can enter the apothecary, so yes, I'm taking Joshua.
Oh, to hell with your way! The boy is ill.
You think I don't know that? But the boy is also the Phoenix. The heir to the throne. You can't keep him in swaddling clothes all of his life.
Elwin!
Don't worry. Clive will watch over him.
She does not approve.
15 years. He's already a fine soldier. He will make a splendid shield.
You see more in him than the Phoenix did. He was rejected, Elwin. Our household has no place for such a failure. He is worthless. A man like any other.
Wow.
As am I, my dear.
Nonsense. You are the Archduke of Rosaria.
Oh, not this again. You know as well as I do that I only sit upon the throne because my father was taken before his time. I am merely warming the seat till Joshua comes of age.
You are your father's firstborn son, and you sit upon the throne. All is in its right place. Unlike some, you have not disgraced our noble blood.
Without men like Clive to keep us safe, your precious noble blood would long since have graced the gutter.
Fucking called it. Annabelle Rosfield. I am curious about her. Duchess of Rosaria, wife of Archduke Elwyn, and mother to Clive and Joshua. It is not only her beauty, but her connection to a bloodline that produced many previous dominants of the Phoenix that led her to being proposed as a bride for the young Archduke. Indeed, the two are cousins, having known from a young age that her purpose in life was to preserve her Phoenix-bearing bloodline. She dotes on Joshua and scorns Clive. And there's Clive, second son of the Archduke of Rosaria. Joshua was anointed heir to the ducal throne by virtue of his awakening as the dominant of the Phoenix. His love and admiration for his elder brother Clive is absolute, and he is only too proud to have him serve as his first shield. His love for carrots, less so. Dominant. Those within whom sleeps the power of an icon, though they look and think no differently to any other man or woman, they cannot not only cast elemental magics without a crystal, but also transform themselves into beasts of world-shattering strength at any moment, a quality from which they are honored, worshipped, and feared the realm over. Cool, thank you for the context. This is why she's annoying.
I'm going to sleep.
That's why he's not too pleased. She's definitely drinking the Kool-Aid about her royal blood. Being like, oh, let's shun Clive, but then keep Joshua coddled because he's like, you know, the royal blood and heir to the throne and shit. It's like...
Time to prove yourself.
She better be hopeful as fuck that Clive is not, like, vying for the throne or anything like that, because she would have a very hard time.
I should get some sleep.
Right.
As much as people don't like the idea of, you know, families fighting over the throne and shit, peasants and people who are not in the royalty don't want to deal with kings that are, you know, really shit at their job.
He takes too many risks. I only wish I could save him from himself.
Clive, you...
I have another mission too. Father has given me my first command.
Nice. Good work. That's what we want to hear.
Well, if you're not going to pray to Materia for your safe return, I shall just have to do it for you. There's going to be another war, isn't there? Since coming here, I've begun to take peace for granted. I assumed the war between our nations would be the last. But it never really ends, does it?
No. The next war will be bigger than before.
But you'll be all right, won't you, Clive? You're a shield of Rosaria, after all, and blessed by the Phoenix.
Who is she? Jill Warwick. Born a princess of the Northern Territories, Jill was made a ward of Rosaria after her homeland's incessant raids were quelled by the duchy. She was raised in Rosalith Castle alongside Clive and Joshua, who came to love her as a sister. The burning red star that sits beneath the moon. Folklore ascribes to Materia the role of message bearer to the moon, so it is common custom across Valishthia to wish upon the star that one heartfelt desire might be conveyed to the heavens and beyond. Nice. He has some affection.
My lady.
Good night, Clive.
Sorry. Aw, look at the chocobo.
Sorry, Ambrosia. We won't be hunting today.
Don't worry. I'm sure you'll do brilliantly.
I'll try.
Good luck.
Nice.
Friends, we ride for Phoenix Gate. May the blessing of the crystals go with us and shield the Firebird's flame forevermore!
His Grace departs! Open the gates!
Lord Rossfield, allow me. I shall see her safely to Phoenix Gate.
Thank you.
And these are our two buddies.
We're ready to depart, my lord.
May I say what an honor it is to serve alongside you?
This is to be no mere investigation. If there are goblins in Stillwind, they won't leave willingly. The Beastmen are a fierce foe. We underestimate them at our peril.
Not today, we won't.
Sir Wade, Sir Tyler, let us do our duty.
With pleasure, my lord.
As you command.
To the marshes, then. And may the blessing of the crystals go with us.
Oh, neat. It's like a Game of Thrones map. World map displays all the locations indicated by glowing pins, allowing you to fast travel. Nice. This looks cool. This looks fun. Stillwind, the Grand Duchy of Rosary. Or Rosary, really.
Keep your eyes open for those goblins. The reports placed them in this area.
Hi there, Green. Have you been able to make things cheap? I know. Have you made things cheaper? I want things to be cheaper now. Lost in the Fog. This is the demo of Final Fantasy 16, by the way. I know some people might be seeing this, the game category and being like, what the fuck? The economy has been inflated big and round. Horny. I can do this to... No, not GrantZeebs. I can do this to Greenie Pika.
Becky. Limb smash.
Damn it, I didn't point it to the right... Thank you for making me all big and inflated, Ripper. You Ripper. Actually, shout out for Greenie, though. Welcome to the stream. How's it going? What's with that fucking smile? What is that called? Nyeh. Nyeh. Feeling overwhelmed? Try equipping one of the 5 timely accessories, for example. The Ring of Timely Strikes allows its wearer to chain complex combos only using the square. The Ring of Timely Focus slows time before an incoming attack, allowing for an extended evasion period. As with all items, timely accessories can be equipped and unequipped on the gear tab of the main menu. So this is what it looks like on the PlayStation 5 when you know, select graphics. You are very panda. Pandas are big and round. Well, they're not that big. Not big compared to a zebra, but have you seen those clips of the pandas in the zoos? Like, they're so, like, some of them are silly. Like, there's one that like does a roly-poly-oly. Like, it just rolls down a hill. And then you got this like fucking, you got this zookeeper with a pandemic mask on, goes down, grabs the panda from the top arms and is basically dragging him up while he's just like, while his like lower half of his body is just like boom drooping, and then gets him back up to the top of the hill, only for the panda to start rolling back down. Is it 2 better than my PS3? Au contraire, it is only 1 better than the PS3 because we are going by the rules of the Fibonacci sequence. PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2 is superior to the PlayStation 2. PlayStation 3 is superior to the PlayStation 2. PlayStation 4 wasn't really all that much more superior than the PlayStation 3, but then when you get to the PlayStation 5, then you get superior to the PlayStation 3. Fibonacci sequence. There's no logic to dictate why I believe this, but I reckon it's a better means of figuring out whether upgrades are worthwhile or not. Because if you go from like the first iteration, it's always like you know, your first interaction to the thingamadiggy, absolutely worth it. So when you go into the second one, it's definitely an upgrade. Going into the third is like you know, probably worthwhile, but you won't get as much of an improvement when you go from the second. You forget the fourth. And you make your way, and you make a jump to 5th. Oh, you idiot. D, you uncoordinated bitch. Yeah, exactly. PlayStation 4 didn't have a Ratchet & Clank on it. Like, they technically had the Ratchet & Clank remake, but the remake was, like, a bad example of remakes. Because it, like, did a lot of characteristic changes, and it, like, kind of annoyed people, like, the development and the story beats that we got compared to our first iteration of the Ratchet & Clank. Press triangle after striking an opponent to conjure a Magitech explosion that deals significant damage. Yes! Nice. That was cool.
So the reports were true.
We should press on. There may be more ahead.
Alrighty. Insomniac puts into the canon, it's a bad retelling by Quark who never pays attention. They did that in the movie. They did a Ratchet & Clank movie as well, which did the same sort of trick, which was like, oh, here's Quark. Like, giving you a very bad explanation about the Ratchet & Clank series. And it's like, that's fine and all, but here's... Game Maker's Toolkit is an absolutely fantastic YouTube channel that I highly... Like, if you want to have, you know, sort of a means of interpreting, like, why you might like some games as opposed to others, the Game Maker's Toolkit does a fairly good job in explaining some of, like, the mechanical and artistic nonsense in video games and why some things have been interpreted good and why things have been interpreted bad. They did a video recently. I say recently when it's only been this year. They did a video about video game remakes, like not remasters where it's like, oh, here's a graphical update or something like that. He's talking about remakes, the Resident Evil 2, 3, and 4 kind of stuff. And he goes into a really good explanation about the reason it happens is because, number one, you're doing like a very reasonable technological update for the games, but then more importantly, you're bringing in games that you don't normally have an access of being able to play in the modern day. The reason why it doesn't work in films is because if it's been released in movies and it's got a DVD, you can watch it via DVD. There's no point in going for the 1999 remake of Psycho when we already have Psycho on DVD or VHS available to us. Video games are different. A lot of people might not have a GameCube, so playing Resident Evil 4 might not be possible unless you go for like the shitty PC port. So by making a remake, you give people who don't have those technologies available to view it. It killed the Sly Cooper movie. I think the Sly Cooper was in production hell by the time Ratchet & Clank was out, however. So it wasn't a case that Ratchet & Clank killed it. Sly Raccoon killed it. Because unfortunately, no one has a really good idea how to make video game movies that are not story-heavy driven movies. That are story-heavy games, I should say. Like, because we've seen... what's a Mahuzi? Because we've seen with The Last of Us that you're able to do, like, story-driven games as either... I think a TV show has the benefit of going for, the like, a bit of a lengthier runtime than a movie does, especially for something like, The Last of Us, or maybe what Ratchet & Clank's series would have done. But as far as things such as, I want to say, Resident Evil doesn't really do 100% conversion, I feel. Not unless you maybe did, I don't know, maybe Resident Evil 4 and 2, because they kind of did Resident Evil 1. Well, they did Resident Evil 1. They did a little bit of Resident Evil 2, and then they just went off the rails with 3 and then everything else afterwards. The Lara Croft movies, 1 and 2, like, they have the same, like, feels, but the thing is that my issue with the Uncharted series, when they tried making it into a movie, is you kind of forget the reason we have the Uncharted series is it gave us a modern take of Indiana Jones without doing the Indiana Jones IP. Like, because that's basically what... Like, if you look at Nathan Drake and then look at Indiana Jones, can you tell me the difference between the two? Like, gameplay-wise difference between the two. There isn't. Indiana Jones uses guns, and he has, like, an interesting whip that isn't going to be used as much as his gun. Indiana Jones is highly knowledgeable about history, especially in the subject matters, and is normally going to be dealing with the bad guys. He has a strong sense of morals, so does Nathan Drake. Can I just jump through here? Yep, cool. This is what happens when you explore. You get rewarded. So... You finally played the first Uncharted to completion last year? Hey, that's pretty good. I've not played any of the Uncharteds. I know I can play the Uncharted series on the PlayStation collection. Like, that's a thing they've done. Ooh, can I do a... Let's see, can I do a leaping attack? Now, damn it.
Some of their number of spell slingers. And what a number. We'll all have our hands full here.
There we go. Oh, I forgot the dodge button. Alright, all of them are dead. And we got our Gil. PS3 games are worthless right now, so picking up the trilogy for $12... Hey, you're Australian! Excellent. I'm finally getting people that are, like, in my time zone this time. I didn't know you were in Australia, Ripper. Wonderful. I don't have to worry about you being awake at 3 in the morning to watch me stream. Yeah. There are so many, like, American peeps in my chat that are like, ah, yes, I took a sleeping pill, but I'm resisting the effects of the sleeping pill so I can watch you stream. Yeah. Bonk. Alright, there's our bridge.
We should be nearing the old village square.
It might not be a nest of goblins.
Oh, I'm out of, like... I even said, hey, at Furdu, but that's basically all I said. Hi, Oh! Oh, I didn't realize we met at Furdu. I am terrible with remembering. Like, I remember Simon Moo, Arrow TV, And then, you know, I met the obvious Twitch peeps like Mutasaur, Kusaki, Scribbly, Blue, and all them. I don't have a really good memory of those. You never saw my badge, so how would you know? Fair enough.
Working on it.
Fair enough-sies. Alrighty then, gobbies. And he's got a cool hat.
Oh, we'll have to take care of his followers first.
That is a terrible horn.
As if you have to ask.
And there was one.
Alrighty. What does he have to get labeled with his hobby? It's so then that way we know the difference between magical goblins and non-magical goblins, and this fat lard here. Larger enemies must be faced with caution. They have far more HP than their smaller counterparts and will often use devastating abilities to overwhelm opponents. Use the Blessing of the Phoenix not only to deal considerable damage to these enemies, but also to break their wills. Breaking an enemy's will can stagger it, leaving it unable to act and vulnerable to attacks.
That's a swing and a half. Be ready to move when it winds up for another.
Don't have to tell me twice.
There we go. There's the first. Enemies with partial stagger with their will engaged is reduced to 50%, creating a small opening in which combination attacks are easily landed. Ow, I missed that one. There we go. Now I can do my rising, we'll cause it a stagger, extra damage up to a maximum of 150%. During this time, it's displayed on the enemy and gaining its senses. Parry. Press forward just as to attack parry. Temporary slow you down and leaving the open for a counter. Oh, cool. There we go, and another one. There we go. There we go. Yes! Ooh! We did an ability finish then. I guess mugging isn't a hobby because it's technically a profession. Mugging can be a hobby. You know, the difference between a hobby and a profession, you don't care about the money. You haven't played a Final Fantasy since 13. Was 15 like this too? No, 15 was a bit of a mess. Lore dumping reasons, investigating the lore wise and getting a development on your different party members because you like committed to 3 party characters instead of the usual like 5 or 8 you'd get, and then doing like quests for each of them. You were in sort of this modern take of the world. You were in a relatively modern world, but with magic involved, and you went on like a road trip with your 3 best pals to go marry a chick that you're friends with. But then on the road trip, your dad brings in like the enemy team or something to sign an armist. They tried pulling a sneaky on him, in which case he just, surprised them and nuked them or something or rather. So he's dead. Some of the delegates of the opposing team are dead, and you're just devastated. And your best hope is most likely continuing with your journey now as a fugitive to go and marry, your childhood friend. Really weird stuff. Was the combat real-time? Yes, it was. They've moved to real-time combat since Final Fantasy 13, I would say, technically. Or maybe Final Fantasy 13 had, like, more active hits, and then it would pause time for abilities. But right now, ever since 14 and 15, it's been more live. Ooh. Heavy leather. Yes, thank you. So, yeah, Final Fantasy 14, RPG, live, combat and such like that, real time. And then, 15, they did that again. Final Fantasy 7 Remake, it's real time as well with, moments of pausing to do an action, but very rarely you notice that. And then 13 was ATB. What's 8? Is that active time battle? Gear can be significantly improving. Thingamadoogs. Yep. All right, attributes. The comprehensive of, his thingy-madiggies. Gear. Yep, cool. Hard leather armaments, giving me more thingy-madiggy. Ability points can be spent in the abilities tab to acquire new abilities as well as upgrade existing ones. If you're unsatisfied with Clive's current build, reset all abilities and try again, as there's no penalty in doing so. Nice. All right, so that's melee attack. All right, so we've got 150 ability points. Press X and square to close in and attack a distant enemy. Press X and 4 to slice down. Yeah, X and square. Jump and square. All right, so hold to imbue with fire, unleashing a powerful attack. To pull the attention of an enemy. R1 to recover immediately after being knocked down. Press X while in the air to kick off a nearby, increasing jump height and duration. Press triangle to increase the potency of your magic. Here we go. We'll go with this. We'll go with these two. And then we do the insta recovery. Okay, I can't do anything here to do improvements. You know what? Let's add the lunge in. A plus squared. Oh, you can master these as well. Okay. Interesting. I didn't know that was a thing. And then that would have cost 180. That would have cost 100. Okay, cool. I know that for next time.
There he is.
Dash.
Damn it.
No. Which way? Or are we just, like, running through? Okay, yeah, we're running over it. I thought we had to run around it, but okay. Sup, Gobby? You actually never played... You never actually played 10? Maybe you should do that. Oh, okay.
This ends now.
Turn-based, but with turn swapping in real time. Huh. So it's sort of like synchronized turns and Civilization. Is that what it is? That's like what's in my head. Uh-oh. You're fucked. The backlog is real. The backlog is real. There is a few games. Like, I've got, like, the acute... Because I have the Xbox Game Pass, I have the Yakuza series. I have the Yakuza series. I have, like, the Baldur's Gate. I have, like, so many different things.
Stay away from its mouth!
Ow.
I'll be fine now.
Where's it going?
Uh-oh. Not a good sign.
As good as mine.
Can I dash out of there? Ooh, that's cool. Cinematic strike. When the light flashes blue like this during a pivotal moment, press square before the time runs out to deliver a devastating bow. Yeah. And they're staggered as well. That's cool.
No! Before it recovers! Nice try.
There we go.
This should serve. Won't be gone for long.
There he is. All right, here we go. Another cinematic hit. And leap up. Oh, cinematic evasion. Okay. Nice.
Now for the final push, my lord!
Yep.
I think we made it angry. I'd rather we made it die.
There we go. Yep. There we go. You know of a few gammas that have done that in the past? Oh, the saving and the demo gets carried over. It's all starting at the beginning, so it is a bit of a maybe, but it's more likely... It's possible that this isn't even, like, the beginning that we get. So, who knows? It's gonna take a Googling to learn. Hmm.
My lord. Thanks. Never thought I'd see it. Not just goblins in Rosaria, but morbles too.
Well, it's a bit of a swamp.
If we don't stop them here, they'll be at our gates before long.
We should get moving. We don't want to be caught out here after dark.
If we set off now, we can still reach Phoenix Gate before nightfall.
That'd be nice. It's not Shrek. It's a fucking tentacle, like, seed thing in the swamp. Unless you're talking about the goblin earlier, in which case that's not even Shrek. Shrek is more of an orc than... or an ogre than a goblin. That was just a really fat, overweight goblin. That's like that's like an inflation fetish goblin. Alrighty, and next mission. Actually, what time is it? I can sleep. That's true, it didn't have layers. Yes, thank you. It didn't have layers. Is there... Hang on. Hitting the start menu. No. So there's a skip option, but there isn't a save yet. So...
Thousands of red eyes. No, wait till you hear this. Wait till you hear this. His lordship draws his sword. The goblin chief runs off screaming straight down a mortal's gullet.
That's not exactly how it went down, but I'm not going to refute that. It's just a fun little exaggeration of the story.
Must be gratifying to see your student making such a name for himself. The young young lord has a bright future ahead.
Lol, he's got like a milk
Aye.
beer,
And one
milk
of these nights
mustache.
he may even deign to join us.
There it is again, and then it disappears over time. Oh, there's Joshua being a little drip. Ah, Joshua, if I wanted a drip, if I wanted to talk to a drip, I'd open a faucet.
I like your funny words,
It's Magic Man. Oh, Joshua, if I wanted to talk to a drip, I'd open a faucet.
Are you unwell?
No, Father. Just a little tired.
Well, it has been a long day.
Mm-hmm.
They all like Clive, don't they?
Well, Clive does a lot of work. You have done fuck all.
Brother will be a fine shield. We're all very proud of him.
Father? Why is it that the dominance is always born into our family?
Genetics and inbreeding. Inbreeding, boy. Inbreeding.
We cannot live without the blessing of the crystals. And the crystals work their magic through us. You have been blessed, Joshua. Blessed to be a dominant, to wield the power of an icon. Our family has been chosen to share that power with the people. So that is what we must do.
Louder, my friends! Louder!
Boundless blue heavens, see how the fire in the ferment. I can't read the rest. I'm a personal fan of the One Piece. Binko se kosaka no onani senete yo.
Being a fine hound.
Yo ho ho ho, yo ho ho ho. Yo ho ho ho, yo ho ho ho.
So this is where you've been hiding.
What are you doing out here?
Yeah, because I'm not allowed in there with you.
Feasts are the only time shields are allowed to take their ease, and I've never really been one for cakes and ale.
It's the vegetables I don't like.
Little shit. Oh, there's the little red dot beside the moon.
I hear you slew a Morble.
Yep.
All the men were singing your praises.
They never used to. When I joined the ranks, everyone thought I was a spoilt little lordling. If I didn't know how to handle a sword, I'd be a laughingstock. The Archduke's firstborn failure. You're the one they really believe in. I'm jealous.
That's not true. They don't believe in me. They believe in the power of the dominant.
You're not wrong, kid, but you can't go living through life thinking that.
Ruler of a life and death.
It isn't fair. It should have been you. I don't have what it takes to lead our people. I don't have the strength. But you do.
It didn't magically come in. Look, kid, that's pretty morbid.
Ours was decided.
Yes, I was gonna do that drum beat for you, Ripper.
Chose to instate the dominant as the Archduke of Rosaria. All to ensure that whenever our nation stood on a precipice, the Phoenix would rise from the flames to drag us back from the brink. The fate of Rosaria sits on the dominant's shoulders. It is your duty to bear that burden.
What about you?
I was born to be your shield.
I have my own burdens to deal with, kid.
To keep our rulers safe, no matter what. However hard it gets, I'll never let you down.
Thank you, Clive. I know you'll always take care of me.
Oh, god damn it, kid.
Before I can do that, you need to take care of yourself.
You have the power of the Phoenix. How do you not just heal yourself?
I should go inside. It's past my bedtime. Good night, Torgal.
Aww.
Supplies from the capital.
Those aren't supplies from the capital, are they?
You took your time sampling the wares, were ya?
He's up to something.
Good job the north is full of enterprising traders keen to keep us in wine.
Spare a barrel for the boys on duty, eh?
What in the...
Problem. God damn you. The uniforms look like corsets, or is it just me? I didn't get that impression. I just got the impression that, you know,
Secured, Captain. They proceed as planned.
it's just, you know, heavy on the breastplate on the top half and then nothing on the bottom. So, yeah. Yeah, kid, don't go out there. There are problems right now. You do not need to go out there.
Is that...
Ugh.
Forgive me, my prince. It's me, Wade. You probably don't remember me.
I remember. What is it?
We're under attack. I don't know who they are, but they've set light to half the castle. I must get you to safety, Your Highness.
That does not sound believable one bit. Either the kid is very gullible, or I'm just very suspicious of peeps being like, "It is me, Wade. You probably don't remember me." Like... Oh. Oh, okay.
Are the enemy already inside the castle?
I'm afraid so, Your Highness. We must hurry.
Great. This kid's gonna be weak as fuck, isn't he? Is that Wade from Dank Pods? I don't know. Honestly, I like looking at him a bit more. It makes me think it might, like, his name might have been Wade and he might have been in our party earlier. Kid, run.
What was that?
Oh my God, this is...
To help them. Everything's on fire.
Fall back, Your Highness! He's not one of us!
No, I must do my duty.
Bloody lordling.
Oh!
Vigilance, Your...
Okay. Jesus, kid, you need to work on, you know, being a better swordsman if you got powers like that at the available when you're just ill.
I saw them at the feast. They were laughing.
This is Sabra Quargarb. But why would the Empire?
We must find my father.
You're gonna have a hard time, kid. Alrighty, here we go. Who's laughing now, kid? Look, the kid, you know... Ugh, never mind. Here we go. Alrighty, let's see how we go.
Who does that?
Take it.
There we go.
The bastards are everywhere.
Why would the Empire do this? They're our allies.
Probably, you know, some other ulterior motive because they were about to be ruled by a child. Fun fact, kid, empires don't like having to be dealing with a child that may not be fully, you know, appreciative of, you know, the Empire doing their own thing. And you might have a very black and white morale. Hang on. Yay! Okay, so we can save here. Alright. Only a Sith deals in absolutes, draws swords? That's kind of... Hey, that's kind of cute! They make them... Oh, you can't see it if I do it from there. But they make them into, like, the pixel sort of design. That's cute. I like that. That's pretty cute. Alrighty then. Unfortunately, I'm sorry to say, chat, I need to end it there. I have work tomorrow. I can't sit in here and, like, keep playing the demo until midnight or anything crazy like that. I also don't know when it will end, so... But I think the good news is that I'm able to at least save the game, which is pretty decent. And then I'll be able to probably play it properly when it comes out on next Thursday for me. So, but I'll probably play it next Friday, more likely than next Thursday. Nice spot for your Keyblade too. Thanks. I recently did the Mickey Mouse symbol as you like. I've done the chain and the Mickey Mouse as you saw. So, but I need to work on new models tomorrow night. So I've been fiddling around with this room too much. I need to make new models. I need to do like maybe something related to a video game or maybe a chair. I want to do something new, and I want to add something else into this room. So that will have to be something I need to think about for tomorrow. For now, however, let's see. Is he still streaming? Yes, he is. All right. We are going to raid into Blue Foxy Nicey Icy a second time. And hang on a second. Unpin this message. Oh, no, he's ending. Alrighty, then. Okay, if he's ending, then we'll need to go to someone else, then. Let's see. Who else is online? No, I'm not going to help him with that. He can figure his own shit out. He told me that, you know, every Kingdom Hearts game is essential when that is not the case. All right, we're not going to go for Blue Foxy and ICIC. We need to go for someone else. Let's have a look. Who is online? Let's see. Bonjour. Bleep. Ooh, how is Bleep Bloop? All right, they're doing some nice lo-fi sort of Minecrafting, so I reckon that's going to be a little bit fun. So, we're going to go right into them. They were someone that submitted a clip to Furdu, so I kind of want to be able to, you know, sort of shout them out and such like that. So we're going to go for them. And if you have the emotes, you can join in with our raid message with the emotes attached to them. If not, then you can use what other kinds of emotes that you want with them. And otherwise, I want to say thank you everyone who came along to tonight's stream. Thank you for coming. Any of you who came back from the, you know, the hit and run raid or the fake raid, I need to figure out what the term is, because if it's being seen as a fake raid, then I probably should not do that anymore or ever again. I thought it was an okay thing to do when Scribbly did it, but I guess not. We'll go raid into Bleep Bloop shortly, and I will be online again tomorrow night for Blender art. So hopefully you'll join me, and, you know, maybe there's some sort of mesh or model that I need to work on. Just be aware that that Keyblade in the background there is probably the most work I've done to a model for the amount of quality you get. So, but until then, I'll see you all next time. Bye for now.